So for Dragon Quest Day this year, 2026, it was revealed that a new Dragon Quest Monsters game is going to be released very soon. And, we didn't actually get to see any gameplay or anything. We got a title and a bit of information, and that's about it. However, during the Nintendo Direct on June 9th, we got to see an actual gameplay trailer. Sure, it was only about a minute and a half, but this little bit has given us a lot of information. So basically what I'm going to be doing in this quick video is breaking down quite a bit all this information that we can glean from this tiny little snippet of gameplay, along with any other information that I think is interesting that we know so far. So, I'm Defeater of Souls. If you like Dragon Quest Monsters content, subscribe. Let's get right into this. Alright, so we start off with the age rating. Everyone 10 and up. There's nothing too important to mention, it's just funny that they're not going a dark gritty route, but I wasn't expecting them to. Still funny to mention. Graphics. Now, I'm not big on graphics. I couldn't tell you what games look good or bad. I thought Dark Prince looked fine, and I know I'm in the minority there. But no, I think the game looks pretty good so far. Now, obviously, how it runs on my Nintendo Switch remains to be seen, but until then, looks good in the trailers. So we do get to see that it's in a new world. It's a barren world, a withered world, if you will. It's not Dead Tree, as was a very popular theory floating around. Now, to be fair, it still looks like it's going to have connections to the original Dragon Quest Monsters games. For example, the main characters are seen greeting Fluffy, who, was the original monster mascot of the original games. Fluffy and Scruffy. So, obviously, there's still going to be that connection, although to what capacity remains to be seen. There's also new monsters, but we'll come back and talk a little bit more about them in a little bit. Monsters now follow behind you. This is not a new feature. This was in the original Dragon Quest Monsters games for the Game Boy Color, and it's back, and I love this feature. It really does explain a lot of things, because if you think about it, how do monsters get around in the Joker games? Now, to be fair, the Joker games are a bit more modern sci-fi compared to the fantasy setting of other games. But how do you get a Gigantus, a Draculard, and any other big monster of your choice on a little jet ski in the original Joker game? You explain that to me. So being able to show, have them follow behind you really adds a lot, and I enjoyed it. I'm glad it's back. Something else worth mentioning is that the camera angle is weird, I think is the best way to describe it. It's kind of like fishbowl. I don't know, I'm not an expert at this, but it looks weird. Now, they may have a good reason for this, that may be trying to, once again, bring it closer to the original games, but I honestly cannot say. I can just say, it exists and it's weird. Looking a little bit more at the combat, 4 monster parties, pretty much just like Dark Prince and all the 3DS games. This is pretty standard, it's still interesting. Glad it's here, why not? Now, the breeding screen. We get to see a little glimpse of breeding, and we can get a lot of details just from this little bit. Starting with the simple stuff, ranks. Ranks still exist. I don't know why they would have disappeared, but hey, they're still here. G rank's probably still going to be the lowest, X rank's probably still going to be the highest. Traits. Once again, you have to level up your monster to unlock them. Once again, this was in Dark Prince. Nothing too special here. What is special are personalities. Personalities were also in the original Dragon Quest Monsters game, where they pretty much directly affected how the AI of your monsters worked on auto battle. So for example, if you wanted a monster to do all offensive attacks, you could set them for them to go all out in the AI. However, if their personality was not one that reflected them well doing that, then they wouldn't do it. So if you had a daredevil monster, it would do great with those all-out attacks, but if you had a gullible monster, it would prefer to do defending attacks and support attacks. So I think re-implementing personalities is interesting, and I'm interested to see whether or not it'll actually mean anything or not. Size. Oh dear, this is probably not going to come too well to some of you, but it looks like we're sticking with the sizes that we are introduced in Dark Prince, where all monsters are small, but you can make them large. This may come as a disappointment, but I do think this probably is a good call. I mean, Dark Prince had a lot of ideas, so trying to implement them in better ways is a good thing. Now, how well that's going to work, I can't say, and we also don't know whether or not extra large monsters is an extra thing where you can make your monster 3 sizes, but I wouldn't bet on it, but I also don't know. Sizes are the same. So, breeding. Normally it's at some kind of Starry Night Shrine or just some random place, but right now it looks like breeding is taking in front of a sapling, or I guess it's called synthesis, whatever you want to call it. It's taking place in front of a sapling. This is a story clue, but I'm not going to do too much analysis of what the story could be, because that's one of the things I think's best left unknown when you're playing a game. What the story is, what the story beats are, that's something that should be a surprise when you're playing the game. Now we can actually look. We get to see about 3 monsters, new monsters to the game that are introduced. Like this platypus dog, obviously it was shown in the original teaser, but you know, it's cool. These sushi slimes, I think that's sushi, I don't know. Yeah, sushi slimes, and then during this small little clip here, this Piper guy, I don't know if he was introduced in another game, but I certainly know that I can't recognize who he is based off this quick view. We also get a release date. December 3rd, 2026. That's this year. That's actually really close. I mean, not really close. It's still a few months away, but still, like, that's awesome. Glad it's coming. Coming soon. Final thing revealed in the trailer is Deborah, who is the 3rd bride in Dragon Quest V. Now, obviously, this makes sense. She's kind of important to the story. Not really, but she's, you know, it's good to know she exists. But besides that, her role in the story is currently unknown. She's probably not a playable character. She might play a similar role to Millie in the original Dragon Quest Monsters games. But once again, I don't know. Now that's all we can get from the trailer. However, there is more information we can find just by looking at some other stuff. For example, retail. If you go to the Square Enix store or Steam, you can see that the price is about $60. That's pretty nice, you know. Obviously, it's not $70, which is good. It's probably a reasonable price. We don't know. If we look at the official artwork, though, that comes with the game, we'll see this random guy just up here. He's now introduced in the trailer. He's with Scruffy. He's completely unnamed, so whoever this guy is, we don't know. But, you know, he's here, so that's cool. There is a pre-order adventure starter set with a couple items that help give a bit of a clue at the inner workings of the game. So, for example, Monster Munchies. These are pretty self-explanatory. They'll be used to increase your odds of scouting a monster, likely. Seeds of Skill give you skill points. They've been around since forever. There's also bonus balls, which I'm assuming will grant XP if you use them on monsters. But I'm not exactly sure. Now, this may seem like, you know, that's all we can find. But guess what? We can find even more by looking at the Collector's Edition. That's right. If you look somewhere like the Square Enix store and you find the Collector's Edition, you can get a general idea of what this is about. On the Square Enix store, it costs about $220 to get this edition. This is the game, a bunch of DLC, which we'll get into in a little bit, and is not including shipping and tax. So, what comes with the Collector's Edition? Well, the stuff outside of the game. You get some figurines of the main characters, around 2.56 inches. If you're not American, then that's about 2.56 inches. We also get ones of the Fluffy, Scruffy, and Fizzy, which are awesome. We get a cleaning cloth. Pretty cool. And this sliding pouch with a meat zipper. This is all cool. It's a bit on the smaller side, you know, I mean, I'm paying $220 for this. Kinda want something big, but these are all cool. No complaints, I suppose, although I'm not sure if I'm buying it. As for the in-game bonus stuffs, we get all the, Beastie Bites, Seeds of Skills, bonus balls, but we also get some other stuff. Once again, more Beastie Bites, more Seeds of Skills, but you also get a necklace of animation. We don't know what this does, it's just something you get. It's probably an accessory, and it might work like Dark Prince, where you can equip the accessory to get some minor trait or a stat bonus, but I don't know. The last thing to look at here is the DLC. This will probably be sold separately, similar to Dark Prince, and is bundled in the Digital Deluxe Edition along with the Collector's Edition. So the first one is the Molehole, also called the Mega Molehole. You probably recognize this from Dark Prince if you got it. What it does is it allows you to obtain monsters that you've already befriended by just scouting them in a small little area, which is neat. It really is useful for trying to get high-ranked monsters, but at the same time, it also, you know, has some other small things. But hey, the Molehole's back. Definitely helpful for a lot of people. I'm not complaining. The second thing is Monster Marathons. Based off the description, it appears to be some kind of mini-game, of platforming, maybe? I honestly do not know. It really isn't clear. But hey, you can get it. That's cool. Third DLC. Now this one, there's quite a lot to talk about. It's called the Metallic Ring, and what you can do is you can use this every 30 minutes. to turn all monsters around you into metal monsters, and hunter mechs, of course. Now, this obviously is intended to speed up grinding, because if you can turn everything to metal monsters, it's easier to find, it's easier to kill. However, this does pose a small problem. Wouldn't this mean that metal monsters are suddenly incredibly easy to get if you use this item? Now sure, you're paying for it, so I guess it makes sense for you to have a great benefit from it. But at the same time, for just however much this DLC is by itself, you're going to have the ability to scout these monsters pretty much as quickly as possible. As long as you're willing to take, 30-minute intervals. You could probably get a gem slime an entire day if you knew what you were doing. You compare this to any other game, the only one that's even comparable to is the original Joker 2, where if you used a swarm troop, you could get a metal slime in the first area. The game is not intended to be balanced around that, so if you get the metallic ring too early, it's going to cause some problems. But that's all speculation. Maybe they have a great way of balancing it. Maybe you can't scout them. I don't know. But it's interesting. The final DLC is called the Scout Run VIP card. What this does is it appears to be a thing where you can scout monsters without battle in the base game. That's cool. I can see why that could be useful. And it apparently has a cooldown, which makes sense. What's the Scout Run VIP then do? Increases your benefits. You get more monsters. You can reduce the wait time. Once again, we don't have enough information to determine how nice or useful this is, but it definitely sounds like it's interesting. Now, this may seem like there's it, but alas, let's go back to the Steam listing. We have online PvP listed, which makes sense, obviously. Online PvP was in many other games before it. Cross-platform multiplayer, that's cool. Cross-platform is always fun. And online co-op. Now, obviously, we don't know whether or not these Steam tags are all true, and we don't know, even if they are true, what the capacity of these are. Obviously, odds are you'll be able to fight your monsters in battle, but online co-op? What the heck does that mean? Basically, that's all I have to say. So what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of stuff that we are able to get here, but we don't actually know too much. It gives us enough just for us to get interested and to get a general idea, maybe, about what this game's about, while still leaving enough to surprise us, hopefully, when we actually get the game. So that's all I have to say. So, are you excited for Withered World? I know I am. Thank you all for watching. If you like Dragon Quest Monsters content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I'm interested to hear what your thoughts on any of these below. Is there anything that I may have missed from either the trailers or somewhere else? I don't know. Of course, I need to make sure I mention, I'm still going to be releasing standard content, short on Thursdays, video every other week. As more and more Withered World information comes out, more and more of these random videos will continue to drop as we follow it until, it's actually here. So, until then, thank you all for watching, and this has been The Feeder of Souls.